Happy holidays, everybody, and Tony here with a tribute to The Tick Loves Santa from The Tick, which aired on Fox Kids on November 25, 1995. This episode was directed by Hank Tucker, and it was written by Ben Edlund and Richard Liebman Smith. Although I really love and enjoy Freakazoid as one of my most favorite comedic superheroes of all time, The Tick reigns supreme, all thanks to its off-the-wall humor, full of referential jokes as well as fourth-wall breakers, its brilliant writing, its spectacular world building, as well as its fluid animation, its affectionate parodies of various superheroes, including Deflator Mouse as an affectionate parody to Batman, and let's not forget about the witty dialogue carried out by some very fine vocal performances by Townsend Coleman as the Tick and Rob Paulson as his sidekick slash straight man Arthur. Ever since I was a child of about 10 or 12 years old, I first caught this show on Star World while I was still living in Cebu, Philippines. And after catching a few episodes of The Tick, I was automatically hooked, and I therefore became a fan of the show. Even as I was growing up, I still managed to catch a few episodes here and there online, and I was still laughing my head off with delight and joy. And there was just so much brilliance to be found in this wonderfully comedic superhero show. Rewatching The Tick as an adult made me further appreciate the legacy that this show had to offer, and it made me enjoy and understand a lot of the references found in not only this episode, but many other episodes of The Tick. Going into this Christmas episode, it does start off rather festively, with the city being covered in snow and a kid and his father visiting a beggar Santa. Although the kid was smart enough to notice that this Santa is not even the jolly, rosy-cheeked man that we all know and love, but a skinny, sickly beggar whose voice has been presumably tarnished by lots of smoking and drinking. The holidays are, however, interrupted when a robbery is afoot. Just when the bank robber thought he had no chance of escaping, he ends up robbing the beggar Santa's outfit and ends up disguising himself as Santa, only with the real beggar Santa to state that he was robbed and his clothes were taken away from him. Meanwhile, the Tick and Arthur are coming home from doing Christmas shopping as they prepare themselves for a banquet that they're going to have with their fellow superheroes. Only for the bank robber disguised as Santa Claus to bump into the Tick, and he ends up passing out at first. The Tick, thinking that the robber is Santa, is very excited to see him, but the bank robber has no time for holiday jollies as the chase continues to ensue. The bank robber disguised as Santa is just about to be cornered and sent into jail, but he's still as persistent as ever, and he ends up jumping to some lights advertising a beer that he ends up being electrocuted. The police, as well as the Tick, who is still believing that the bank robber is still Santa, think that he's done, but it's not over yet. The bank robber then discovers that with the use of electricity, he is able to create duplicates, thus hatching a plan to create further chaos and make a whole lot more heists now that he's got clones by his side. The Christmas party is in full swing, although the Tick is really bummed out, only for his fellow superheroes to call him out on his quote-unquote childish behavior by saying that Santa is not real. And even Arthur does his very best to clarify to the Tick that the bank robber was not Santa. Speaking of the bank robber Santa, aka Multiple Santa, he ends up causing a rampage in an electrical store by robbing everything they've got, as well as damage the electric Santa. We then cut to Arthur, Sewer Urchin, Deflator Mouse, American Maid, Feral Boy, and Four-Legged Man singing We Wish You a Merry Christmas as per tradition in terms of their Christmas caroling, while the Tick is still so sullen. And this was definitely a hilarious moment because the one voice that stood out from this gaggle of carolers was none other than American Maid and her deadpan way of singing. Unfortunately, there is no merriment to be reacted in terms of their singing, as an old lady shouts at them, stating that they should be ashamed of themselves. Their caroling is unfortunately interrupted by multiple Santas. While the other heroes fight, the Tick still foolishly believes that the robber is still Santa. And just as American Maid is about to deliver that final blow by doing a spin kick and making multiple Santas land on a voltage adapter, thus causing the Christmas lights to shut down, multiple Santa is not over yet, as he still laughs with menacing glee, and more clones emerge to create more rampage. This leaves the Tick and all his fellow superheroes to come out defeated, and unfortunately, his fellow superheroes are absolutely disgruntled with Tick's absolute buffoonery. Therefore, they could have had an easy victory if Tick came to his senses, which he did not. Multiple Santa's schemes are not done yet. In fact, he's just getting started. In order for more multiple Santas to grow, he then concocts a devious plan that their next plan of action is gonna be at the hydroelectric power plant, where they can use that great source of electricity to multiply themselves further. The Tick is still utterly crushed, with Arthur still doing his absolute best to clarify to the Tick that what he has been seeing and fighting, and this is all clarified with the presence of the elves who dress and act like government agents. And wouldn't you know it, the real Santa arrives. He even gives gifts to both the Tick and Arthur. And we even have a nice, humorous, and lovely moment with the Tick being officially happy to see Santa as he sits down on his lap, although Santa is being crushed by the Tick's muscular body. And even Santa has some choice words to say to the Tick, that although he loves him as a son because he has kept the faith even until his adulthood, he still needs to face the facts that the multiple Santas were phonies, fakes, and frauds. Meanwhile, Arthur is double checking to see if Santa Claus is the real deal, as evidenced when he pulls out a BB gun that he once received from him as a present. Too bad that it ended up being smashed by the elves. Nevertheless, Santa gives him a pencil box, and this time the Tick and Arthur are ready for business in terms of stopping the multiple Santas. At the power plant, multiple Santas rampage has gone very much unquelled, and they even hold the cops hostage as the main multiple Santa electrocutes himself, thus causing a huge avalanche of multiple Santas to occur. Even the real Santa Claus reminds the Tick and Arthur that the multiple Santas are at the power plant. As they arrive there, they are prepared to do battle against all the multiple Santas. However, just as the Tick is about to flake out on one of them, still thinking that one of them is the real Santa, he comes to his senses and decides that what he could do is give one of them a noogie, and it worked! The clones can be defeated by static electricity. So he puts that static electricity power to good use as he spouts out some iconic Christmas songs, including Go Tell It on the Mountain and Feliz Navidad, which I thought was absolutely hilarious, especially when the Tick announces it in such a grand Shakespearean way. So with the multiple Santas stopped and being hauled off to jail, the real Santa greets the Tick Arthur and the Cops, A Very Merry Christmas, and ending it with Spoon. And the sugar plums dance on the Tick's and Arthur's heads as the Tick greets us, the audience, a very Merry Christmas. So if you are hankering for a comedic superhero Christmas episode that is brimming with action, laughs, referential jokes, fourth wall jokes, and a lot of brilliant writing to be found, you can never go wrong with The Tick Loves Santa. It's no wonder why it's such an iconic Christmas special. The humor is absolutely brilliant. The jokes are really well timed, and everything about the story, the characters, and the plot was absolutely brilliantly woven from beginning to end. And let's also not forget about how it was able to combine action, comedy, and a whole lot of holiday cheer in such a masterful way. Even the music was put to great use. You not only had classic pieces like Silent Night, but also a slightly jazzy version of It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, especially when it came to it being played in the scenes of the Tick, Arthur, and their fellow superheroes. And what is a phenomenal Christmas special like The Tick Loves Santa without such wonderful voice actors? Well, you might not have this particular Christmas episode. Yes, there is no doubt that I loved Townsend Coleman's heroic yet wonderfully oafish Tick, Rob Paulson's eloquent and charming Arthur, Jess Harnell's fine sewer urchin, Cam Clark's virile and husky Deflator Mouse, Kay Lentz's stoic, deadpan, and uniquely charming American Maid, Kevin Schoen putting his gibberish to great use as Feral Boy, Roger Rose's dashing four-legged man, and of course, Ron Feinberg's paternal Santa Claus. But if you ask me, the voice actor who stole the show for me in this particular Christmas episode, as well as the entirety of The Tick, definitely had to be Jim Cummings as Multiple Santa. What more can I say about Jim Cummings? He's not only a voiceover legend, but he knew how to steal the show from everybody's feet. And as Multiple Santa, he didn't just make him a standard bank robber who loves planning heists and is greedy, but he makes him a threat and therefore makes his presence all the more venomous, intimidating, yet absolutely awesome. Therefore, The Tick Loves Santa gets the 2 thumbs up, an A+, and an all-around gold star for being humorous, fun, action-packed, and of course, really charming in its own special way. And for those of you who caught The Tick Loves Santa, what'd you think of it? Was there a moment you really loved the most? Did you feel that Multiple Santa was an iconically threatening villain, especially provided by Jim Cummings' sterling voice acting? Was there a moment that you found particularly hilarious? Or did you feel like this episode was kind of a bore? Comment below and let me know. Well, that's it for my tribute to The Tick Loves Santa. Tune in much later for my tribute to the Life of Louie Christmas episode. So until then, happy holidays, everybody!